Oh, is she dead?
No, she's breathing.
Now get a stretcher, then find the governor and let him know.
Right.
You were told to keep them under constant supervision.
I only turned my back for half a minute.
You know what this lot can do in half a minute.
Smith, I'm quite sure that you had something to do with this attack, so I'm sending you to solitary.
Oh, you can't do that. You got no proof.
I don't need any proof.
That's not fair. She was only...
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. Go on, Colson. She's only trying to what? Had Eve threatened you before?
The governor spoke to you, Coulson.
You've been in a lot of trouble since you've come here, Colson. Had you confided in us in the first place, Smith wouldn't be on her way to solitary. Eves wouldn't be unconscious. Now, you've got to learn to rely on the staff, not the prisoners. We run this place, not them. We're in charge here.
And you better get that straight, because you're going to be here a long time.
Antonio McNally died in hospital half an hour ago.
I can understand why you didn't want to say anything in the governor's office. I mightn't approve, but I can understand. In a place like this, there's pressure on everyone, and someone's always trying to make trouble. If you wanted to keep me informed, just unofficially, it certainly wouldn't do you any harm.
Until the others found out.
Now, how would they ever find out? Oh, well, suit yourself. It doesn't matter to me. We find out everything sooner or later anyway. Now, inside. And if you change your mind...
Oh, Vera, I've been looking for you.
Oh?
It's a bit difficult, really. We're having a meeting in the staff room in about 5 minutes.
What about?
Well, the staff are up in arms about the way Fletcher's been handling things. You're deputy governor, so I felt you should be told.
Thanks.
Now, it's a question of whether your allegiance is with Mr. Fletcher
I'm a union
or...
member. I'll be at the meeting. Comes to that, Mr. Fletcher's probably a union member.
I'm afraid his presence might inhibit discussion.
Of course. And the situation certainly needs to be aired.
Well, see you in 5 minutes, then.
Oh, jeez. There it goes again. Bell rings, out we go, just like bloody cows.
Who are you calling a bloody cow?
Oh, forget it. I said bloody cows.
Come on, you lot. Early closing tonight.
What's the big rush?
None of your business.
Well, we're going to get trampled in the rush.
Come on, just get going.
Excuse me, Mrs. Barry.
Yes, Birdsworth?
Where's Bea? Why didn't she come back?
Smith's been put in solitary.
Solitary?
Again?
Well, what's she done?
You know what she did.
They couldn't prove nothing. She was right here with us.
That's right.
Well, it's nothing to do with me.
But that's not fair.
What about the rules?
No rules have been broken. Now, look, it is nothing to do with me. Now, just get moving, the lot of you. Come on. Come on, Lizzie.
Smith's in solitary, and the rest are locked away for the night.
Good. Just a minute, Mrs. Jackson. I haven't finished yet. Seem to be in a bit of a hurry. There's something we better have out. Now, Smith bashed Eves. How did she get the chance? You were the supervising officer.
I told you I was discussing business with Officer Barry.
And you were so busy gossiping that not one, but two prisoners managed to leave without you noticing.
We were not gossiping.
Well, what was this business that was so absorbing?
Routine.
Come off it, Mrs. Jackson.
Eves was waiting for the chance. It took her 2 seconds.
Then Smith had to see what was happening, then go after her. Now, come on, Mrs. Jackson, what's going on?
You're not in the army now, Mr. Fletcher.
Mrs. Jackson, running this prison is a very difficult job. Now, you may not agree with everything that I've done, but then again, I doubt whether you agreed with everything that Mrs. Davidson did. But you gave her loyalty.
We were discussing a meeting of officers. There's a lot of concern amongst the staff about the way things are developing. We're meeting to talk about it.
When?
Now, as a matter of fact.
Now? Well, why wasn't I told? I'm a member of the union.
It's your administration we're discussing.
And I've got a right to put my point of view. Shall we go, Mrs. Jackson?
Well, I, for one, just don't agree with compulsory overtime. Oh, come on, I've got a family to look after. This job places enough strain on family life already, as I'm sure everyone here will agree. So I repeat, we need strong action.
Added to that, there are problems on the job itself. All these new disciplinary measures. I mean, it's just building up resentment amongst the prisoners. Just walk through the place, you can feel it.
That's right.
And what's that going to lead to? Sooner or later, it's going to lead to violence. Violence against the officers. Now, to get this thing in order, I move we officially complain to the union. Have I got a seconder? Good.
Sorry I'm late.
Come on in, Meg. We all agree we've got problems. Have you got anything to add?
No, we've got problems.
Now, what's all this about?
Mr. Fletcher was not invited to this meeting, Meg.
Mrs. Jackson didn't invite me. I'm a union member. I'm entitled to be here. Now, what's all this about?
It's about the serious situation in this prison. It's keeping us away from our homes and families.
And this new hard-line policy. We're concerned that inevitably it's going to lead to attacks on the officers.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with insubordination.
Nobody's been insubordinate, Mr. Fletcher. The staff have every right to hold a meeting. However, I think there's more to gain from discussion than confrontation. And that's why I believe Mr. Fletcher wanted to attend.
Mr. Fletcher?
Yes, that's right.
I think we should detail our problems and see what we can sort out.
Well, there's quite a list.
But it'll have to be done sometime.
I think Meg's right. What we want boils down to this. No compulsory overtime, an increase in staff, and the return of privileges to the prisoners.
And the cancellation of the Keep Fit program. It's upsetting the prisoners for no good reason.
Are you out of your minds?
Well, I don't think that's a very constructive attitude.
I'm acting governor here, and you want to cancel every change that I've made. Do you want the prisoners to think that I've got no authority at all? Do you really think that your lives are going to be made any easier if they think they can bully you lot into pressuring me?
Apart from which, there are practical problems. The number of staff is a matter for the department. I take it you'd be prepared, Mr. Fletcher, to make strong representations on our behalf.
Yes, of course.
I'm afraid we feel strongly on all the other points.
And I'm telling you, it's just not on.
Well, surely we can compromise. Staff unrest isn't going to help your standing with the department.
My standing with the department's got nothing to do with this, Mrs. Jackson. I'll do what I think is right.
We do have legitimate complaints, Mr. Fletcher.
Look, I realise that a prison can't function efficiently with the staff and administration at odds. Now, I'm prepared to cancel the Keep Fit program and the compulsory overtime. But the loss of privileges must remain.
Well, I think that should improve the situation.
And I insist on constant prisoner supervision, at least as far as the staff situation will allow.
Well, the loss of privileges isn't indefinite, obviously.
Well, they'll be reviewed after what I consider to be an appropriate interval.
Could I suggest we accept this situation for the moment?
Yes, I'll go along with that.
Good. Maybe now we can get back to the business of running a prison.
I thought he might be starting to learn.
So did I, but the way he walked out, I'm not so sure.
You were very quiet, Vera.
Yes, between you two and Meg, well, things were pretty well covered.
How do you think he'll react to us standing up to him?
Hard to tell.
Anyhow, we won most of what we wanted.
Well, look, that's not the point. If he doesn't understand why we're upset, then it'll happen all over again. Oh, come on, it's all right for him sitting in that office writing memos and feeling self-important. We're the ones in the front line.
Anyhow, a man's not right for governor here.
I'm forced to agree with you.
Oh, well, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks. How do you think it went?
You were very good.
Oh, no, not that. Do you think there'll be any more trouble?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mrs. Jackson,
Bye. See you.
I want to thank you.
Well, what for?
Your good sense in there.
I hope you don't think I'm on your side.
No, not at all. But without you, things would have been a lot more difficult.
Well, I just hope things settle down now.
Believe me, Mrs. Jackson, if people just let me get on with my job, they will.
You're in early.
Yes, the only way I can keep up with all the paperwork. I'm beginning to respect Erica Davidson more and more each day.
But not changing your ideas, I hope.
Oh, no. She's got her style, I've got mine. Her way is different, not better.
Anything special happening today?
Ah, yes. 2 transfers from Barnhurst.
Farnhurst dumping their problems in our lap.
Well, Wentworth's dumped its share of problems in other people's laps. This woman, a Pat O'Connell. Now, she's been transferred so that she can see her children more often. Apparently, the request has come from the Prisoners' Reform Group.
Oh, that bunch of interfering do-gooders.
Well, I think it's fair enough. A woman should be able to see her children.
Oh, nothing personal intended, Mr. Fletcher. I'd forgotten your family.